My host today at Konica Minolta is Sacha-Vittorio Paolucci, the head of industrial printing for the EMEA region. So Sacha, it's a pleasure seeing you. And so I see something behind us that makes me extremely curious. It's software, and software is becoming increasingly important for every supplier of equipment, technology, and that's something that it's not Konica Minolta. So can you give me an overview?
Correct. So welcome to Label Expo. We are here in Hall 8, C21, C22, and we have now the availability of showcasing end-to-end ecosystems. So from the front end, the e-commerce web shop actually, towards the MIS and towards the pre-press side of it, with partners being EPS and being OneVision, in order to automate the receival of the jobs, and on basis of the attributes of each individual job, automate both the pre-press, taking into account the MIS planning and dispatching tools on basis of the attributes of the Konica Minolta printing solutions for labels or converting packaging solutions, and also looking into its embellishment solutions and finishing solutions with die cutting. So we really look at station per station, all of the booth, and we showcase to our customers how to receive these jobs, dispatch them, automate them on basis of Industry 5.0 principles with these end-to-end ecosystems we've created here.
Okay, what is from EPS and what is from OneVision?
Good question. So from EPS we've got the front end, the web shop, and also the MIS solution, Radius, which actually then enables them to take into account all of the label and packaging types of applications and then re-aggregate them into its specific per segment, per substrate, the individual jobs, and bring them into a print queue, and knowing if they should be dispatched onto a AL230 or AL400, depending on the attributes. So for example, they need an extra ink color like white, then they would be dispatched on AccurioLabel 400, because now we have the white color. That is something new on the AccurioLabel 400 that we just introduced into the market a couple of months ago.
Okay, what if we move to the AL400 and 230, so in order to have a look at these new features?
Great idea. Let's see the machines, absolutely.
So AL400, AccurioLabel, AL stands for AccurioLabel. Relatively new, baby, because you launched it already last year, end of last year.
End of last year,
right?
Exactly.
But it's the first time at the Label Expo show.
Absolutely, first time at Label Expo.
What are the key improvements compared to the 230 or the latest advances in the machine itself?
So it's a CMYK toner-based solution with plus an extra station of white ink. So now we have the availability of doing varnish masking, having the availability of printing the white layer in the opacity in one single pass at plus 80%. That is the beauty of it. We're actually showcasing here transparent media, transparent substrates with white ink on top of it, which we'll look at later on, so that you can see the incredible results we have available and achieved here with AccurioLabel 400. Plus, on top of the extra ink with white, we also have doubled the speed from the AccurioLabel 230. So now we are 39.9 meters per minute on a speed perspective with CMYK, and CMYK plus white at 20 meters per minute.
What I saw, in fact, in the first version of this machine was the empty fifth station.
Absolutely.
That now is filled with white. Are you happy to show us in the machine from inside?
Sure. And here we go. Here we have got now the CMYK stations and the white, the extra station available here, in order to be able to combine both CMYK plus white in one single pass in the AccurioLabel 400.
Sacha, we have these beautiful samples that are probably interesting and effective to show the capabilities of both the 400 and the 230 with some extra features. So are you happy to explain me a little bit what are you going to show in this
Absolutely, yes. So we have multiple different self-adhesive substrates and non-self-adhesive substrates. We have also some of the transparent media that we're showcasing here in order to showcase how actually the white substrate, the white ink on the substrate itself react in one single pass with the transparent media that you see here with plus 80% in a single pass opacity rate, and being able to, we also use metallic substrates. We use this one here exactly, the honey one, and then we showcase with our media partners being Avery Dennison, Fitagoni, Adesso, and others that actually have provided with us and are partnering up with us on this media to test it on both the AccurioLabel 400 and the 230 to be able not just to print but also to embellish, to do the UV varnish, 2D and 3D haptic effects, and also the foiling side of it with gold foiling, silver foiling and other interesting impactful touches in order to embellish the final application, the final label.
Okay, Sasha, if you agree, I would move on the 230, on the AccurioLabel 230, because
Sure.
It's a little bit longer than usual.
Absolutely, follow me. So here we are in front of the AccurioLabel 230, whereas we have a full configuration from AccurioLabel 230 with an extra actually ink head inserted, where we both combine CMYK toner-based technology and also inkjet technology with our partner, integration partner IIJ, which uses actually Konica Minolta inkjet print heads and has the availability of adding an extra ink color on top of that, which in this case is a UV reactive ink, and this one enables us to do security printing tracing features.
Okay, means that in this machine you are combining a dry toner engine with an inkjet engine only for the white
Not for the white, for the UV.
For the UV.
In this case it's UV, it could be anything that the customer wants.
So it can be white,
Yes.
can be a clear, can be something else.
Exactly, it can be a clear coat also, whatever the customer wants, but it's only one extra color, yes.
Okay, and is it possible to retrofit the existing AccurioLabel
Absolutely,
230
yes.
and add this module?
Correct, yes, it is possible, absolutely. This was always available, it was always empty as a slot in order to exactly enable this.
Okay, and what are you showing in particular at the Label Expo?
Okay, so here we need to look at the UV ink itself. So when you look at the UV lights, you see both barcoding features, you see holographic actually effects here, in order to actually, from a security perspective, to have brand protection. So here, from a perspective of this one here for the Pro Source application we showcase, it's just so that nobody can copy your branding and actually enable you to be able to secure and trace your own individual labels printed on AccurioLabel 230. Okay, so here now we have actually the workstation for everything that's AccurioPro Flux, from perspective of label solution, to be able to do pre-flighting, being able to do dynamic impositioning, adding with VDP, CSV files, actually variable data, not just customer names on individual labels, but also barcoding, QR codes, and other security features, and being able that to do through color management and adding bleed, actually the print-ready files, and sending them directly to our AccurioLabel 230 or 400, and taking into account what type of finishing is behind it also. So the AccurioLabel Pro Flux here is a workflow management tool that enables you to automate the pre-press side of it, and also from a dashboarding perspective, giving you the key KPIs that you will require in order to know where you stand in your production facility.
And Sasha, behind us is the JETvarnish 3D Web 400, which I can imagine is the latest development of the well-known 3D Web, and it's part of the product portfolio of Konica Minolta, but is designed and manufactured by MGI in France. MGI, which is a company controlled by Konica Minolta.
Partially owned by Konica Minolta and also distributed by Konica Minolta, absolutely. And anything that you want to do from a web perspective, so here we're talking on a web-to-web perspective, of being able to add a maximum impact on your finished printed labels, being able to add the additional layers, 2D, 3D effects on UV varnish, and also being able to add foiling technologies, hot stamping foiling technologies, so that you have a digital added effect of embellishment, where you have the maximum impact you create with both the availability of a shining effect, but also structured and haptic effects on your individual labels or packaging types of applications.
Okay, are you happy to show me the
Yes, of
embellished
course.
product? This is the end of the line.
This is the end of the line,
The
where you
line
have,
starts on the other side, but
where you have the UV varnish side of it, where you have here some of the objects that have been really put outside from a perspective of the brand name or other types of matrices, in order to be able to really have that individual product stand out from the rest of it. And what's new with the Jet 3D Varnish 400 is the availability that it's a modular, compact solution. It enables you actually that you start with the UV varnish side of it, you can have a second station of UV varnish, and you can add also the iFoil station to it on top of it. So the machine will actually gradually increase its capabilities with your budget or with your opportunities that you as a customer would like to invest.
What is the advantage of having an extra varnish unit?
You can do higher layers in faster speeds. So the more layers you add on, the more 3D effects you have on the individual label itself. And you have the more impact on the end user if he looks at a shelf of 50 individual products and sees that stands out the most.
Okay, and these are the substantial improvements compared to the previous 3D Web.
Absolutely, yes.
Probably the most original and also unpublished piece of equipment on the Konica Minolta booth this year is the Octopus Web, which is again an MGI product, and it's something that in some ways integrate your existing offering. It's no longer printing, it's no longer embellishment, but is die cutting, right?
Exactly. So now we close the loop with a 360-degree offering to our customers from the web shop towards the final actually sellable product. So now here with the Octopus solution, we have the availability of doing variable die cuts on demand and on the fly, and being able that on 3 individual lines, we have 9 individual die cutting rotary die cuts, knives.
Let's see inside.
Here we see it inside. And actually what we see here is you have your roll-to-roll solution and being able to have a matrix shapes of individual shapes and individual forms that are all cut out on the fly to really create your label of one. With every single time a different shape, every single time a different size, and all in one single solution.
What is interesting probably is good to mention that this machine is not a laser and not a traditional die cut, but it's a knife cut.
Exactly,
no?
rotary knife cuts, yes.
Okay, so it's something in between, okay, and use a well-known, well-established technology, which is knife cut, but at a different level. What is the maximum speed or the average speed of this machine?
So right now, today we advertise 20 meters per minute as maximum speed right now in roll-to-roll solutions. However, we aim that once we launch it next year, actually ready for delivery to our customers, we aim at going at 30 meters per minute in order to really go into what's in between our AccurioLabel 230 and 400 press to really be on the same level of what we have as an offering in the digital printing and also embellishment side, so that the finishing side follows the same speeds.
Okay, so to some extent we can affirm that nowadays Konica Minolta is in the position to, let's say, take a customer from his artwork, from his PDF into the final product using relatively small and compact, fully digital solutions to sell final labels in smaller, medium and even bigger quantities.
Yes, and we even go one step further, if I may, Lorenzo, because we even go from a web shop perspective, also the availability of interacting with customers, and also having an Approve tool that we call MGI Approve, which enables you to see with a 3D CAD system actually the final product, the final object, like for example a bottle of wine, and how then the label on that bottle of wine will look like with printing, with embellishment like UV varnish or gold foiling, and how that has an effect on price and also on the visual of impact that you would have on the end user with the 3D CAD system that is integrated on a web-based system.
Okay, Sacha, MGI Approve is behind us. So I saw this beautiful bottle with its own foiling and printing, so it's quite realistic, I have to say. And is it a tool more for the converter, for the print company, or is it also accessible remotely by the end user, by the brand owner to
Absolutely.
See his job? I can imagine Approve is a name, but that must mean something, but how does it work?
So MGI Approve is actually the proofing tool. So instead of having to print out something and send it to the end user every single time to actually see it physically and actually be tangible effect, Here what you have available is a digital solution that is based on the cloud, so it's accessible through the web, and it's a web-based system which enables you to directly interact as a print vendor and solutions provider to brand owners on the creative side of it, what types of effects from printing to embellishment to foiling it actually has on the final label, on the object itself. So you can see, for example, here on the wine bottle, basis on the label, with all the individual layers that you can add on top of it, and you can reduce and increase the 3D haptic touch effects with the embellishment, with the UV varnish. You can add the foiling effect also on it, and you can see also how that impacts the pricing side of it. And so this tool that you have here, which is called MGI Approve, enables you, without having to print anything, to actually have that approval process gone through with your brand owner or with the individual salesperson that wants to sell these types of services, of having more impact and more value added types of applications without ever having printed something, but just digitally provided the 3D CAD effect towards the end user.
And is that available to all the Konica Minolta and the MGI customers? Is it a
yes.
open tool?
Yes. Absolutely. Both on cut sheet and roll-to-roll applications, it's available on all our products, and everything that has the availability of having embellishment on it, both UV varnish or foiling, can use this tool in order to leverage on showcasing what types of effects these can have.
Thanks, Sacha.
Lorenzo,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.